Hello, my name is Dr. Adana Elizio. I'm so happy to talk to you this evening. I'm going to be talking to you about the correct way to raise your broilers very big in the shortest possible time. If you've been wondering about this question, don't worry, you're in the right place. Please like my video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video because I'll get you hooked. Please do, let's start rolling. Thank you. Thank you if you've subscribed. Let's move. Once we start talking about getting broiler big, the one of the biggest factor we should be considering is the feed. Are you using the right feed to feed your broilers? Are you using the right feed at the right time to feed your broilers? Because once it comes to broiler feeding, there are different kinds of feed, different brands of feed, and different stages of feed you should use for your broiler. Okay, you should use for your broiler. For for starters, I'm not going to talk to you about the brand of feed because I'm not going to start mentioning brands of feed. I'm not marketing, I'm not influencing for anybody. So whatever the brand of feed you choose, make sure that it has the correct protein level, the correct energy level, and then it's full of it contains adequate vitamins and minerals in it. you know you don't really have to start going to do proximate analysis to check the minerals and vitamins in them. What you should do is that once you start raising the birds, there are visible signs of deficiencies that you should look out for in your birds. If you don't see those signs of deficiencies, then be rest assured that the feed is okay for your birds. The feed is very very okay in that mineral and vitamins aspect. So what you should do is that you should get feed with starter. Some people, there are different school of thoughts on this starter and finisher thing for broilers. Some people will tell you that they switch to finisher at 2 weeks. Some people will tell you they switch to finisher at so and so week. But for me, what works for me is that I use starter till 4 weeks, and then from 4 weeks I switch to finisher. Finisher is when the bird has really grown, especially in heights, because that starter is more of protein. It's just like feeding a child, feeding a young child, a baby. Their nutrition should be more of protein, you understand, till they grow to a certain extent, you understand, before you start introducing very fatty food for weight gain. Finisher is for weight gain, starter is for growth, especially to multiply cells and tissues for height. Okay, if your bed is not up to a certain height, a certain size, and then you switch to finisher, they won't look really big, and they won't look so mature that people want to buy them up from you. You understand where I'm going to? So for me, at agricultural farms, we usually do starter till 4 weeks before we switch to finisher. That's what works for us most of the time, because as from even before 6 weeks, you will see most of our wholesalers, they've stormed our farm. You don't see me advertising much for our broilers, because before the broilers even grow to a certain extent, our wholesalers are already at the farm to offtake from us. Okay, so that's the extent that our broilers grow. They grow really big. Okay, so once you start using the starter, you pay attention to the growth of the birds. Are they growing uniformly? Make your farm spacious, make the room spacious. Anywhere the poultry are staying, make it spacious. Don't overcrowd your birds, because if you overcrowd your birds, you're going to be making it you're going to be making some birds to eat more of the feed, and then some birds will be malnourished. Those ones that are malnourished, they're going to start looking very smallish. We call them runts in poultry farming. Runts, they're going to look very very small. So what you want to do is that once you are feed, you want to avoid having runts in your flock. what you should do is to sort the birds according to the weight, the sizes. The big ones are supposed to stay in one side, you sort them out. The smaller ones are supposed to be in one side, so that you will concentrate on their feeding. You concentrate on feeding them adequately. They don't have to struggle because of their size. They might be struggling with the bigger birds, and if they're struggling now, it's so unfair. It's going to be so unfair, you understand, because the bigger ones you keep getting the feed and the smaller ones you keep starving. So you want to sort the birds, let the smaller ones stay on their own. You just sort them to a small, to a corner of the poultry farm. The smaller ones to stay there, and then try as much as possible to supplement their diet. Those smaller ones that you've sorted out, please try and don't just give them feed and then leave them like that. Supplement their diet. There are so many things to use to boost their growth. I'm not going to talk about them in this video. I'm going to talk about them in a subsequent video. You could ask me questions, anything you don't understand in this video, please try and drop comments for me. I'll answer your questions. I will see them, I'll read my comments, I'll answer your questions. Okay, then we are still talking about the feed. Another important aspect about feeding is that you have to get feeders, very good feeders that do not waste feed. You want to make sure that your feed are not wasting, because there are some feeders you buy, then the birds should just be wasting the feed. If they're wasting the feed, that means they're not converting feed efficiently. That means you have to spend more. You have to spend more for them to reach a certain size, and it's not good for production. That means you might be lowering your profit margin, you understand, and that's not very good for business. Then the next thing is water. Water is so important that water is so important that in poultry production, that without water, if you don't give water, I've seen in our agrimetrics farm, there was a time we were having there is this heat period in Abuja. There is this time we have so much heat in Abuja. Now it's raining, the weather is so cool now, but then there is a time of the year where the heat is so much, it's so blasting, understand. If you don't give water, the birds might start dropping off. If there's no water, they will start dying. You'll be seeing the birds the birds will be dying before your eyes. So that's how it's even in human beings. Like, it's not like in human beings that you can say you stay days without water. In chickens, even few hours of starving them of water, they might start dropping dead. Yes, I've experienced. A very important point you don't want to miss is to incorporate anti-coccidiosis strategy into your routine. Almost every farmer in Nigeria should know of coccidiosis. Coccidiosis is a disease that affects the integrity of the chicken's intestine. They don't get to absorb nutrients as much as they would if they were healthy. So they are eating food and the food is just going wah because there are small ulcers, there are small wounds on their intestines that makes it difficult for the chickens to absorb nutrients. So they are not taking the nutrients. So why would your bird grow big? Tell me, why would your bird grow big? They wouldn't. So the most important thing, and the very bad thing about this coccidiosis is that before you even see the signs of coccidiosis in your birds, the bird must have already been suffering. The bird must have already been suffering for some days, several days, before you even notice it. Okay, so what you should do is to prevent it. It's better to prevent coccidiosis than to treat. So there are strategies to prevent coccidiosis. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but if you subscribe to my channel, in subsequent videos you'll get the notifications when I talk about how to prevent coccidiosis, the best way to prevent coccidiosis in your broilers. Okay, so the next one is deworming. Depending on how long you plan to keep your broilers, you must incorporate deworming into your routine. Deworming, because worms are parasitic. They're just taking and taking without giving your birds anything. You're feeding your birds and they are just swallowing the whole thing. How will your birds get big? No, tell me, how will your birds get big? So if you have worms in your birds are not even going to grow as much as they should, as quickly as they should. They are not going to do that. So what you should do is to put the warming, incorporate the warming into your routine, your farm routines. Okay, those are one of the management practices that you should have in your broiler farm. The warming, very important. So I hope these tips were of help to you. If they've been helpful, please like my videos, share my videos, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.